Manga-Waido.
My name is Sayori. I met my husband at a seminar in college. I fell in love with how he was so quiet, but was in reality more passionate than anyone else, and so I approached him. He was confused at first, but I didn't give up, and eventually he said, "Well, if you're fine with me," and agreed to become my boyfriend. My husband was awkward and would never throw any surprises or stuff, but I was really happy to just get to spend time with him. Is it good?
Yep, it's the best thing you've made so far, I think.
I'm so glad. You see, I actually seasoned it with your preferences in mind.
Is that so? Thanks. I'm flattered.
We got along well, just like this. He always looks so cute when he blushes like this, and I made sure to do the housework as well as possible so that I could see him like this. We've been married for 10 years now, and our second child was just born. I couldn't have been happier. But after I gave birth to my second child, I started to fall ill frequently. A lot of the time, I wasn't even able to get out of bed. Luckily, one of my acquaintances, who was also a mother, helped me with taking care of my children, but this combined with my husband being relocated to another department and suddenly becoming extremely busy meant that I wasn't able to talk to him as much anymore. It's fine if it was just that, but day by day, my husband's attitude towards me would get worse. Are you still working? You really should go to bed already and not overwork yourself like that always.
Shut up! Don't tell me what to do! Jesus! Unlike you, we're just a housewife. I'm busy!
I made a lot of your favorite foods today.
I'm not young anymore, so I can't eat all this. You should really think more before doing stuff.
Just like this, he started blatantly sighing at whatever I did and giving me cold looks. I asked my friend for advice and, "I think that's moral harassment," she said. My husband is always serious and stubborn, but it must be because of age that he gets so mad so often now. I started being careful not to make him mad. I always carried around sweets that my husband liked and would often take my children out on weekends so that he could get some rest. But still, he looked miserable. He no longer showed me that kind face that he used to show me. That's when he said he was going to be late today again, right? My older child is currently at cram school, and my younger child keeps crying and probably won't stop anytime soon. This one likes riding cars and will stop crying as soon as he gets on one. Oh, that's it. I'll bring him a lunchbox. I'll bring my husband a lunchbox by car with this child, and this one will stop crying as well, so it's 2 birds in 1 stone. I remember that when we were newly married, I would often put leftovers from yesterday's dinner into his lunchbox. He really liked it when I did this. I got prepared immediately and got in the car with my younger child. But when I got to his office and called him on the phone, he wouldn't answer. I didn't want to wake up my baby who had finally fallen asleep so I could go up to the office either. I was unsure what to do when a colleague of my husband's, whom I also knew, exited the office building. "Sorry, but could you bring this lunchbox to my husband?" "Your husband? But he already went home a few hours ago." "Huh?" Apparently, my husband would always go home at around 1700 hours, even though he always told me that he was going to be late because he was going to work overtime. He hasn't come home yet and still won't answer my phone. Could it be that he's cheating on me behind my back? I couldn't just stand around doing nothing, so the next day I took my younger child with me by car and waited at the front of my husband's office. And then, there he is. He's walking with a young woman. That is definitely my husband. The 2 of them were talking as if they were really close and were walking towards a love hotel. So the reason he suddenly became cold to me, and the reason why he lied about working overtime to explain why he was late, was because he was cheating on me? I can't forgive this. I wonder how I should confront him once he comes home. Maybe I should gather more evidence first. "Play with me, Mom!" cried my younger child as I looked up cheating, divorce, lawyer on my smartphone with tears in my eyes. Which is when my phone suddenly rang. Yes? I answered the phone, and it seems it was the police who called me.
Your husband was hit by a car that ignored a red light and is currently at Manhwa Hospital. Could you come right now?
I gathered my children and hurried to the hospital. The police officer said that he was conscious, but I was still worried. I also thought that this must be karma. This happened because you cheated on me and ignored your family. When we arrived at the hospital, we found him wrapped in bandages. He broke several bones, but miraculously, he was able to get away with just that. Are you all right, Dad? Said my children, trying to get near him.
Yep, it hurts, but I'm fine.
He said cheerfully. I didn't know what I should say to him and just stood there in silence. My husband said something that surprised me then.
Sorry, but could you take care of my mother for me until I can leave the hospital?
Huh? Your mother? Did something happen to your mother? I was completely taken aback by what my husband told me next. Apparently my mother-in-law had fallen from the stairs and broke her bones and was currently in the hospital as well. Not only that, but she started going senile while in the hospital and was no longer able to have conversations or do stuff on her own well. Apparently my husband is currently in the process of having her relocated to a facility for the elderly.
You looked so busy after Sota was born. Not only that, but you weren't feeling well after giving birth, right? I thought that I couldn't ask you to do even more, which is why I decided to take care of everything on my own. But
my husband explained everything to me, and tears started to fall from my eyes. He told me about how he didn't ask me to take care of his mother for him, fearing that I might fall ill again, and how having to take care of his mother, while also having to go to work, was a lot more work than he had expected, which is why he had started being in such a bad mood all the time and getting mad at me. He also told me about how he would go to his parents' house after leaving his office to take care of his mother, and how he would stay there until the helper he had hired arrived. Apparently, the woman I saw him with yesterday was a person from the welfare division.
I always regretted it after I got mad at you like that. But I knew that if I told you about my mother, you would get worried. And I didn't know how I should apologize to you. I'm so sorry.
You should have told me about this sooner. I was so worried. I thought that you hated me now for some reason.
There's no way that I would hate you. I heard that couples getting divorced because the wife has to take care of her mother-in-law was a common occurrence. I didn't want to get divorced with you, so I
don't want to get divorced with you either. Taking care of your mother-in-law. I guess I wouldn't be able to do everything, but I can at least help you out, you know? You should rely on me more. My husband started panicking when I started crying.
No, sorry! It was my fault!
He repeated. The way he looked right now is exactly how he looked when he was late to a date once when we were young. I started crying. This time because I started to remember all those times we had together and how much I loved my husband. After that, I started helping out with his mother's care from time to time. After she was relocated to an elderly facility, I would often bring her clothes and food and stuff, and would help her out in general whenever my husband couldn't. My mother always smiles and talks a lot whenever we visit her as a family, and it looks like my husband is also happy to see her like this.
Thanks, truly. I really don't know how I should thank you.
I don't need thanks. I'm your wife after all. It's only natural for me to help you. Oh, just promise that you won't hide anything from me anymore, all right?
Yeah. Sorry about that again. Thanks, Saori.
Thank you too. It was a bit awkward and poorly handled, but thanks for worrying about me. I hope we can keep supporting each other as husband and wife from now on as well.